Hey guys, welcome to the MC Anime Podcast. We cover anime, geek culture, Japanese aesthetics, and Asian studies. We are a multi-fandom podcast, and you can expect to hear topics in your favorite hobby or fandom activity potentially. You can find MC Anime on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, please check out mcanimepodcast.com, our website. Furthermore, stay tuned in for another episode.
Welcome to another episode of MC Anime. MC here, another fellow co-host today with Leah. How you doing today?
I'm doing tired, but still good. It's been a long day, but they come and go, but pretty decent overall. Yeah.
Mine, I just been trying to find a manga, and then I found out the manga is still ongoing, so I have to wait.
It's just a long day and disappointment.
Yeah.
The case of the Mondays. Oh, goodness.
Oh, gosh. So we're doing a particular interesting topic today. It's called finding interests and building passion. So the route that we're going to take with finding interest to build passion is simply we're going to divide up into categories. The main, probably majority of ways to discover an interest, and then we're going to specifically talk from finding those interests by the way you found it. We're going to start how you build the passion based on the new discovery from that original source. So let's say, for example, let's just say someone mentioned rock and roll. You did not know what rock and roll was. You hear it, and they go by. You don't know this person. They say rock and roll, but they're not talking to you. You go look up rock and roll, and then you start listening to rock and roll. You can build your passion by discovery of finding rock and roll and actually love rock and roll if that becomes a passion by finding the interest.
Yeah, very true. I think everybody kind of curates their interest from different things and you pull it in, but there are specific things that happen to you that can influence you to like become a super fan of it, develop your skills for it, participate, all of those awesome things that make it truly a passion and not just something that you're like, that's cool. Like you genuinely love it.
And the five categories that we have decided for finding interest. You discover as a child. Self-discovery as a child is pretty simple. You introduced it by someone else, either by indirect or direct means. So friends, family, strangers, acquaintances, etc. You browse the internet and find a particular article or whatever web page or something on the internet relating to that particular interest, and you are very curious. And you can also find interest by you buy a ticket at a concert and you're a big fan. You never met this group before. You bought the ticket. And then all of a sudden you're going to be spending more money for more related content to that interest. And you build a passion.
Yeah, literal happen chance.
Yeah.
Yep.
And by chance, by random events, you might be randomly introduced by whatever means gives you that introduction, and then there you go. All right. So let's particularly talk about when you discover an interest as a child.
Yeah, I mean,
you found an interest as a child.
Well, I mean, things I found music really interesting, artwork, like actually drawing and like creating your own characters. I love that. And in sports, like I really got not into following sports, but into like playing them or doing them and becoming like the best at them. That was really big for me as a kid. How about you?
Mine tend to be very simple. Mine was TV. TV, Nintendo, Pokemon games, and yeah,
Yeah.
and volunteering. Those were the three areas I found to be really entertaining for me.
I'm trying to remember if I ever volunteered, and I don't remember doing it much as a kid. Maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting, very interesting. So like outside kid, inside kid, different
Yeah.
perspectives.
And also, church as well.
Yeah. Mine was the opposite. Whatever was popular
Yeah.
for the church kids, I was like, I am out. I am out of
Well,
here.
it's kind of like I got introduced as a very young child. Parents put me into it, and I think it's one of those few exceptions that it didn't necessarily turn into a passion. It just turned to a livelihood or a belief system. So
Oh
religion
yeah.
is one of those few ways. Yes, you can get interested in it, but once you start adapting to it, it's a life choice at that point. So it's one
Oh
of
yeah.
those
If you're
few
a passionate
exceptions where
believer, that's
yeah.
different.
It's not like you're passionate about this particular fandom. Religion is not a fandom. Religion is a way of life, the belief system. So, and
Yeah.
anything similar to that degree can be a life system as well.
Yeah, because
So,
I mean, those are the big things
yeah.
that kind of impact you when you're a kid.
Mhm.
It'll be your culture, it'll be your surroundings, and definitely be your parents, or
Mhm.
whoever raised you. Those always have a huge impact in like what you begin to have an interest in, and then what becomes like a staple in your day to day.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
a lot of times as a child, when you do repetition of that same interest, you become a passionate to it. So the memories you have doing it, the experience, maybe doing it with friends, that really empowers the developmental stage in what you
Hmm.
do as a child. So that kind of sticks with you because it's like one of your fond memories of child foundation was that interest. So it had
Oh
a
yeah.
strong impact.
Yeah, I mean, anybody could pull from whether it be a celebrity, an athlete, a musician, whoever that you have like you really like them, you like their
Mhm.
work. A lot of them attribute the reason why they have this passion or doing this thing that they're really well known for is because they discovered it when they were a child and they fell in love with it. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think, yeah, so you find like there's usually is something that always carries through with your life. Like I loved reading and I love writing, and I still do that to this day, like to this day while growing up. So, and it's crazy influential because then
Hmm.
it makes other people like if you're a kid and someone tells you you're going to be great if you learn this particular skill or this particular hobby and you dive into it, that's such an exciting time.
Oh yeah. When I did reading, it was reading was an interesting journey for me because I had to self-explore many different alterations of what reading was at that time. So I kept going back to it. I would read entire books in one weekend. That's how much free time I had, not gonna lie. So that is a kind of
You
like
were a kid.
block of my childhood is how much I read in one weekend. I read the entire book in one weekend. I just had hours and hours. I just kept reading. Oh,
Oh man. No, I remember for my school had like read 180s because they wanted you
yep,
to read like something
yeah,
from a book every single day. Yeah.
yeah.
And bookworms and then people who do oh no. There's something called in high school and I
Reading
guess also middle
Olympics.
school. Something like
Reading
that.
Olympics.
But it was called different at my high
Oh,
school.
okay. Yeah.
It wasn't like bookathon or anything, but it was literally like you would read like 12 books, 16 books,
Mm-hmm.
and then you would have Battle of the Books is what it was
Yep.
called. So
Yeah.
you have to know all the facts about these books and have to do it in a buzzer type of way where
Yep.
just be quicker than the other team. Oh man. And
Battle
when
of
you
the
remember where
Brains.
you started,
Yeah.
Jesus.
This reminds me of like Battle of the Brains or You Smarter Than the Fifth Grade or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Just a bunch of book nerds who've always loved books from when they were kids. Like I remember when, like I love the book Bridge to Terabithia.
Hmm.
That book's really sad. So I don't know if people should watch movies out if you want to watch the movie though. Um,
True.
yeah. But I mean, outside of reading, I have sports. You said TV, which I think kind
Oh.
of translates to no.
Yeah, TV's have been like very influential. Uh, for me, liking TV was my only entertainment. So sometimes the only form of entertainment at that time is your passion. If you dedicate enough time to it, I just start liking TV and just start watching more TV and just I don't know. Some people like playing with the neighborhood kids, play hopscotch or jump rope. Well, I just kept watching TV. God.
I
Oh
don't.
God.
I mean, honestly, you would do great one interview, but also two, you still learn a lot of life lessons
Yeah, I
through
know.
TV shows, and you get to learn a lot of very cool stuff other people don't know, and you're great at recommending
Well,
shows
I
then
don't
too.
know if I'm that great with TV trivia. Okay, I might step back on that. I might not be
Oh,
good at pop culture trivia. Sorry, but like I don't watch that much TV. I
oh, come
watch
on.
TV, but I really don't know House. I don't know The Office. I don't know all these other shows.
Oh
How
no! Yeah, never mind. You probably wouldn't be. Yeah,
I
that
really
exists.
don't.
You're like,
I
oh
was like,
no,
I
no,
don't
no,
watch.
not America's
I like I
Class.
watch a lot, but I didn't watch like
Probably not the ones that are gonna be at
I
trivia.
didn't
Yeah.
know every single thing. Game of Thrones, nothing about it. Sorry, but like that's,
Did you read the book?
no,
Oh, you didn't. You know nothing. All right.
I didn't even read the Harry Potter books either.
Made a stance. That's crazy. All right. Well, you're not the first person I know that you're like, yeah, the popular mainstream stuff I didn't really watch. But you watch a lot of other things that
Yeah.
great seasons, great content.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Like TV, Travel Channel, Animal Planet, Discovery Channel, History Channel, Nicktoons, Disney, Nickelodeon, all the major networks at the time.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of varying type content, so most of it was educational, or it told you historical facts or whoever else.
I mean, that's still interesting. And again, that's one of your interests. It's just one of those things.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but
when I was a child, okay, one big interest that I found was bugs. I don't know why. I was fascinated by bugs and animals.
interesting.
But I
Okay.
can tell you like the top 10 most dangerous bugs, according to people in my family. So yeah, you can like tell me the top 10 most dangerous bugs, and you just name it in an order. And it's like, oh, okay.
That's definitely an Animal Planet show too. It has to be. Or
I don't
on
know.
Netflix. Oh my God. Uh,
Oh, God.
um, but I guess from all the interests that you've named, what was the biggest one that was like a passion? Your biggest one that went from interest to passion
I
and you
guess
really delved into it.
this is really maybe history a little bit, like Pawn Stars, American Pickers. I've been having like a interesting bonding with history, and history being something I like.
Mm, okay. I can
I
see
mean,
that.
I've been gravitated to history for the simple fact that history, if you don't learn from it, you're doomed to repeat it. But you can also take specific examples and apply it to modern application in modern life, and do like small tidbits here and there.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, I don't, but when I'm that's it's interesting for I think like for someone in their childhood to really like history.
Yeah,
When I think about how many kids I knew actually knew their history, even by the time they got to high school or as an adult,
yeah,
very few. It's very few. So that's a
yeah.
dope skill to have. Yeah.
How about you?
Um, I guess anything athletic. Like I really like athletic outside stuff. I grew up outside for the most part as a kid. So I really like sports, and for a while I did like compete in them and all that. So that was fun.
Oh
But
gosh, you're a jock. There you go.
yeah, essentially, you're right. Because I mean, I love flag football because I couldn't do regular football, which was fine. Any group sport type activity, even something as simple as dodgeball, you get really into it. But even
Yeah.
now as an adult, I like camping. I like hiking. Love to hike,
Yeah, I think
kayaking, all that stuff.
only sport I did was soccer, but I think
Oh, that's the only one I didn't do.
that was an early age. That was
Oh,
early.
that is disgusting. Oh no, I'm sorry, soccer fans out there. You guys are great. Keep listening, but I hate soccer. Because I remember as a kid, even though I could run around all day, when we started playing soccer, I was like, "What is this? We've been running back and forth for 25 minutes. This is just drills, like those school drills where you have to run and beat the beeper
Yeah.
for the dimes." Yeah, no.
Beat
Oh
the cadence,
no.
beat the cadence in PE.
You can get hit in like the shin when someone misses the ball when they kick.
Yeah.
You just crash. Oh no. Something that would never be a passion. Oh man.
So that brings into the next question. Doing activities with people or getting introduced either by direct or indirect means.
So like family, friends, coworkers.
Strangers, coworkers, basically anyone at any point giving you a introduction to that particular interest, or explaining that interest, or who knows, career day at school, all that sort of stuff.
Mm. Um, I would say theater. Theater was one of those. Acting. Um, I don't know, like I guess like all types of creative arts. So from
Mm-hmm.
editing videos and stuff like that, like I learned that from working with my dad in his business. So like doing events and then recording it, editing the videos down and making them really good. I really enjoyed that, like video production.
Oh,
And I'm trying to think of a
that's
third
kind
thing.
of how I felt with. I think I was okay. So this was middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I was recommended for yearbook club.
Did that.
So
Mm-hmm.
yearbook club was a club that you got nominated for. So teachers put your nomination in, and then they went from the nominations and picked the members who got nominated. So I was nominated for eighth grade year, and I liked it. I was taking pictures for the basketball games, doing different events. I think it was like once a month that I was going to these events, getting pictures for the yearbook teacher that did the yearbook. This is the middle school yearbook, so it only really took one person to mass produce it. It didn't
I
have
was
to
gonna say
take an
it's mainly
entire
just a
class.
yeah, it's just a collage for the most
Yeah.
part.
It,
But
but
wait, for this class,
that's
did you choose if you didn't want to do yearbook, or did you just have to do yearbook because you were nominated?
I was nominated and I stick with it.
Oh
It was
wow.
so funny enough, I got introduced to it indirectly. I forgot who nominated me to do it, but I'm glad they did because by that introduction, it kind of helped had started my passion to pursue it in high school. So yeah, ninth grade, I was taking the intro to communications, which was yearbook, newspaper, and TV. I wanted to do yearbook, but then I found that I liked TV more, so I pursued TV production the rest of the high school years.
Yeah, I only did yearbook for one singular year in high school, and that was just because it was an elective, and I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, that seems kind of cool. But since it was a class, I think maybe that's also why it was different. I kind of
Mhm.
willy nilly chose it and didn't really get that too much into it. I felt it
Yeah.
was slower because I didn't like, just watching the
Mhm.
events and taking pictures. I was like, I kind of want to go and enjoy it because it's
Yeah,
also high school. So that's one of the important things.
That's why I actually did TV production, because I fell in love with TV production more than actually yearbook. I saw
Yeah.
the reality of what yearbook was. It's like, oh my gosh, I gotta not only take the photos, create my own page, use Photoshop to do this yearbook stuff,
Add the
but now I have to get
graphics.
close. Now I have to do the graphics, get the highlighted picture. I have like
Gotta
this
get
section,
your
this section
quote.
to be responsible for. There's like maybe 50 to 60 sections small in the yearbook that you each one responsible for, and you all put
Yeah,
it together.
it's a mini printing press. That's all it is. It's just using child labor to be a printing press. Because I remember,
Yeah.
like, they'd be like, okay, you're gonna do the year, like, year in a snapshot section. It'll be like 3 or 4 pages of the best things that happened in the school year. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, this is actual work. And you had submission dates for it too. TV
Yeah.
production was a little bit more flexible, and also like the people
Mhm.
you worked with kind of felt like a family because you guys
Yeah.
had to really work
You
together
were
to get
like
it done.
really working together, and you really were all the deadlines together. You when you're in yearbook, newspaper, or TV production, you are like a big family. That's where the building block for that passion comes from. Is the
You can
introduction.
make it there. You,
Into a very select few.
it's very because it's. I think that goes big with most things that are like,
Yeah.
and electives are kind of good for finding. New
And
interest.
also looking at classes to the I had. And
Had
that's
mentioned one time when I was out with like a friend, and they were mentioning like an event, and
yeah.
so I knew about poetry. I like poetry ever since I was younger and writing. But I was like, oh shoot, there's a way where you can add a theatrical element to it and give it more life because I do feel like just reading poems doesn't give you the full experience. So hearing someone say that, just googling
Did,
on my phone or
did
the
you do a
computer.
poetry slam?
Oh no, no, no,
Oh,
no, no, absolutely
what
not.
did you
I
do?
was I wasn't. I feel like honestly, a poetry slam can seem cringy, but what I did was probably cringier because I found this like local group in my
Improv.
city, and they just met at this old like Catholic type church with the giant iron gates you have to like push open to get into, and it's a
Okay.
huge courtyard, and you sit in like a séance circle, and then the person just stands in the middle and they perform like whatever their piece is, but they're making eye contact and sometimes it goes on really long because it's just random people doing whatever they want to do. Um, so if you have to go to the bathroom or if you like want to leave, you can't. So you just have to go through it and then go when it's your turn, or you can, or they like let first timers kind of like sit there and
Mhm.
chill. So I did it a few times. But I was
Okay,
like,
now you have to share. Now you have to share one skit that you did.
oh God, no. Oh,
Come
I
on,
do have a
one skit. One skit.
no,
One
no.
skit. Talk about it, please.
Honestly,
I
first off,
was,
it was like 7 years ago, so I do not remember any of them. But I know one was written for like my boyfriend at the time. It was very dramatic. He had very curly, like long hair. And I was like waves of the ocean swaying together. And it was just like, oh, oh, pass me. Why did you do that? Live long enough to become the
so
villain. That's exactly
let
what
me get this
happened.
straight. This is what we call one act plays. That's what you were doing, right?
No, it wasn't a one act play. It's literally like So slam word or just like spoken word poetry, you were standing there in front of a crowd and you're saying the words, but it's an exaggerated emphasis on certain parts. And
Oh,
like you're pulling people in different directions with the
mm,
emotion you're putting in the words. And it's supposed to add another layer to the storytelling for your poem, but it does get very theatrical for some
okay.
people. Yeah. So that was an interest that turned in like that I heard from some random person and I went
Okay.
and checked it out. But I
Since you
retired that
did
hobby.
indirect, I've already did it indirect. Let's do a direct. So I had a friend. I would go to their house. Uh, he's like he's like late high school. I'm like early high school, I think.
Okay.
Um, and he kept pushing me to watch One Piece. He kept really talking about it every single time I came over. Didn't really give it a chance. He even showed me the fight with Don Flamingo and Luffy. I like it. Actually
Okay.
looked kind of cool, but I still didn't like. It didn't click onto me. It's like, wait a second, that is interesting. But I didn't know at the time that it would become a big passion when I started watching it. So my introduction was like way before I started watching it, but it all connected it when I started watching it, when I started exploring anime. So it took some time for that particular interest to grow into a passion because my anime evolution at the time, I should call it, was basically transitioning to me to go to One Piece and having that early introduction directly with the person showing me and talking about it and being all excited about it, and then tell me what it's about, kind of resonated me more with it. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I mean, anime is a great way to think of that. Because when you share it with another person, I think it makes it cooler. I
Yeah.
do hate when people like if you start to get into something and someone introduced you to it, then they're like, "Oh, remember when I told you about it and you were skeptical?" It's like, let me have this. Like we're here together now. Shut up.
Yeah.
But I think that's really cool because that's kind of how it was when I was younger, or when I got introduced to anime, and it was through a friend in middle school. She was like, "Do you not know what Naruto is?" And I was like, "No, I do not." And just started reading the manga, seeing the show, and that's when like YouTube like first started up, so you could watch the animated music videos.
Yeah.
And like me and my group of friends would have a favorite.
Mhm.
Same for like me and my cousin. So I definitely get that. Once you give it a chance, it's just the greatest thing ever.
True. And with people comes the people you don't see, the internet. So
Yes.
the people that you don't see on the internet, or some people that you do see on the internet, whatever is that category belongs to them. The internet's huge. We had the internet since the 80s. We have
Hmm.
gone through, oh gosh. What was the first chat room? Oh,
Uh, AOL.
no, not AOL. MySpace.
AOL did have a chat room,
MySpace
but
was like one of the first chat rooms, like an actual, that's what coined the name chat room. And, we had email, of course, but like email was like the new big thing back then. Then MySpace came and it slowly integrated with Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, and yeah. I just like the internet's full of stuff to be introduced to stuff. All you have to do is you Google's your best friend and now type it in, and who knows what pops up based on the search that you selected.
yeah, but that's always been the biggest appeal of the internet was just discovering new things
Yeah.
and then learning something that you didn't even know you didn't know is the best part about the internet. It can turn into a black hole sometimes though. Now there's so much information that like the
Oh my
research feels
god.
like it can never end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one downside, but it has a
Yeah.
lot of benefits and it is pretty amazing. What's
Oh yeah.
something that you discovered from your time on the interwebs?
Oh gosh, something I discovered. Well, fandom.com was probably my best friend ever. That website had everything related to whatever show I was doing research on, to this question, to like, oh, Charm One's happening in this episode with this character and this monster and this demon. Is this wiki for it? Blah. I was like, okay. I started. I think I went down the fandom loop rabbit hole. I would read one thing, and then I start reading another thing, and then it just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
So I would literally, not gonna lie, I would literally spoil content of anime shows on fandom.com.
Why? Why would you do that?
Okay. This goes back to reading. Reading is really interesting, especially if you find something that you like or you want to know more about.
But
I
you have
went
to
down the rabbit
explain
hole
going
reading
on
and
the
reading and
internet.
reading.
What does
I mean,
that have
that's
to do
literally
with
what
you spoiling content? That's just villain
spoiled
activity.
content because
That
I
is
was a
a
blogger at the time. So, like,
that
blogging and spoiling content was like, well, I have to write something about it, and I need to do the research if I never watched it.
no, no, no. You have a villain arc like every terrible villain in anime, where they're like, this one thing is the only reason I'm doing all of this. And it's like, I feel like there's other options. I feel like we can work on this. You don't have to spoil it. Do you at least put like spoiler warning at the top? Did you at least do that, or were you just freeform?
He did some spoiler warning if I went like super deep into it, but if I just did like explaining what it is, I didn't really do much spoiled content. I mean, I had to look up the power, or I had to look up the character, or
Oh,
sidekick.
yeah.
But like, I
Some,
did like basic information, and also I didn't start having spoiling content until I actually got into writing original content, like the entire Bleach wiki, One Piece wiki. I think I also did. Yeah, I was starting to do Seven Deadly Sins. I was actually doing like a lot more. I was, in a sense, trying to do my own wiki and doing series content. This is when I started doing series content for my blogs.
mhm.
Oh boy.
So just knowing that, like at the end of the day, you're out here just dropping spoilers. Not
Yeah.
just knowing you're a villain. That's now canon. Thank you for
Oh
that.
no, I just gave the spoiler warning. I gave the first thing on the top of the page. Disclaimer: this might contain spoilers. There you go. Sometimes I went, this might contain spoilers about this, or this might contain spoilers in general. So just be aware.
Okay,
Well,
that's fair.
what
You
is
as
your
long as you give
internet rabbit hole? Because I had my internet rabbit hole. What is yours?
travel. So like how you
Travel?
talked about, yeah,
Oh,
travel. I love traveling, and I learned that from like, so back in the day there were chat rooms, but there were also video chat rooms. Kids, this is not a safe thing. So
yeah,
you would go on there, you make a profile, you don't know who you're really talking to. And back in the day, I still have some of these friends who I met on like what was it, like Omegle or whatever's chat room. You tap in like a certain interest and it just finds you someone to chat with. I still
yeah,
have online friends from that. And then in the video chat rooms, you would almost kind of like have your own crew where everyone knew when to hop on at the same time because we're in different area codes. So some people might be in Korea or some people might be in Denmark. It might be in Tokyo. So you have people in different areas, but you all want to talk to each other and just like shoot crap. And I would hear about people's like hometowns, their culture. They'd recommend like movies or books, sometimes like animes for that were based on their like region. So then you start looking at it and you're like, I want to go. I don't want to just look at it and see it from a picture. I want to physically be there and experience it. So yeah, culture and like travel became really big because of the internet. So like the
true.
friends that I made, I've been able to visit like some of them. So that's been awesome. And really get just off the computer screen. Internet's awesome, but I also love real life.
Oh yeah. Internet for me, blogging, I couldn't do without internet. I needed a way to
You would
talk
just be a
about it.
writer.
I need that space to just talk. Whoever read it, you know.
That's the podcast.
Whoever,
Words from
whoever,
the mind of a podcaster.
whoever listens to it is like, that's the content I want to make. But I also went down the rabbit hole of looking up different court cases, the different stances on the law, the constitution, the constitutionality of certain things, and an understanding perspective of the government, and all this other stuff that just like how this legislative body led to this court case. So this court case is the eminent domain that's like the legal go-to model to use for other rulings. You know, of course, you know, particular crimes or hypothetical situations where a crime might not be explained well, so I'm looking it up more in better detail.
Mm-hmm.
And also history. History was interconnected with that too.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to learn a lot more, probably quicker than you would at a library if you just sit there on your computer. You don't have to go anywhere.
And this is how internet builds the passion. It builds the passion by exploring the content that you're interested in, gives you the space to look anything up relating to that, the good and the bad, and
Mhm.
basically gives you the time. If you have the time to do it, then you dive into it. You explore the content. You explore the internet becomes reality. So, you know, and also with the internet, you have to be careful. You can you go down another rabbit hole, spending lots of money.
I love spending money though, especially on the internet.
Yes, I know. Spending money is great, right? And then you realize you don't have it at the end of the day. Because you spent it
Yeah,
all.
that's the only crappy thing. If something takes forever to get to me, I will be extremely sad. I might not buy it. There's been plenty of things that I really find interesting on the internet, but I'm not willing to wait for the shipping. So I'll just
I
never get
mean,
it.
if you already bought it and you said you wanted it, it's gonna come in shipping if you want to wait or not.
Yeah, but you can just I have a habit of just putting stuff in the cart. I like looking at the cart and then looking at the total.
Oh my
And
god!
like I don't know if you've ever done it where you look at the total and you forget that it's like the shipping and handling hasn't been applied yet, and then you go click it and you're like, yeah, I can afford that. Let's just do it.
And
Let's
then
just go
the
crazy.
shipping becomes like $20-$50 later. It's like,
Yeah,
no, I don't have the money now.
mistakes
Oh
be
my
made.
god. Okay, the shopping cart is about the most activating thing ever. You go to click on the stuff you want, and you just keep piling it up. You're 120 items later, and you realize you can't buy it all.
It's not the shopping cart's fault.
I
They
mean, it's not
utilize
the
out of sight, out of
fault, but
mind.
it's the user error by putting too much in the shopping cart. So
No.
yeah,
We
if you
have to
click it
take
and add to the shopping
responsibility.
cart, you have to delete it from the shopping cart to officially buy it, which is probably worse. Unless you have like, some Amazon wish list that you might or might not get in your life. Be like the content creator, think, oh, here's my Amazon wish list. If you want to help me get to it, please help me.
Support the show.
Yeah.
Support your local artist. Oh man.
gosh. Oh, what's the time you spent money and spending money actually led to a passion based on interest?
I'd probably say photography. Yeah, I'd say photography. Like,
Okay.
I grew up with it, like with my family, with my dad, and so he, I gave him the money. I was just like, buy whatever like decent camera you can get, so I can just go out and take pictures. And that's still the cameras. I think, especially like Nikon and all that, were around. You can go anywhere from 300 to 1,000 or 1,200. It's a lot of money when you're like in your early 20s. You're like, wow, this is my life. So I remember like I got the camera, and then I'm one of those people where if I spend a lot of money on it, I'm gonna use the crap out of it
Yeah.
because I want to get my money's worth. So yeah, I think that I got the camera first without knowing too much skills. I know how to use video cameras and whatnot, but I was like a regular click, zoom in, adjust all the settings type, did not know. And so I had to learn it from the internet. But I got the camera first. And then the skills and all of that came afterwards. I just knew I like photography. What about you?
Okay, so mine is probably a hodgepodge of different things. Collecting. I found that I like collecting different things throughout my years.
Like a collection or a collection of just things? That could be hoarding.
Collections of random things at the time I was interested in. So I was collecting coins. I was collecting snow globe. I was collecting keychains. I started a private collection of canvas in my room. I have like what? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
But I will say that there is a difference though, because like sometimes it could just be you like that thing. Like I have vinyl records, and for whatever reason, I would just constantly go to a record shop, an old school one, and get tons and tons of vinyl records that I like the covers of, or I knew they were good artists. Never bought a player. Never bought a vinyl player. So it's just like my dad was one time. He was like, "Why do you have all of these? Like you have like 57 and you keep buying them every weekend. You haven't listened to a single one. What's this for?" And I was like, "My grandkids will listen to this music." Like, no, they won't. They're gonna break. Like if you're gonna move out and they're gonna break. So there is a difference. I didn't have a passion for the music on the vinyl records, but I did like collecting them.
Well, okay. I do.
Too.
So I had a trophy case above my bed. I cleared the entire trophy case because my snow globe collection got so huge. I had to move location. I had to like move my trophies onto the desk. It's hilarious. That's what it's literally become the computer desk now. But this is when I was cleaning my entire room. I was given like a certain theme and certain areas. Oh, I also collect a bunch of seashells. I have some conch shells. I went to, I think, Newburn. But yeah, I started, I think, going to Goodwill for the snow globes and the canvases, like different, just random canvases art that I actually like a cityscape, a tree that's colorful, a bridge.
Were you hanging them up, or were they like on the ground, covered by a cart, like an old mansion?
It's all on my wall in my room. And probably the biggest one I have is literally is my old MC Anime logo that I bought from Flickr. I bought a poster based on my logo. And that was probably a pain because it wasn't the exact size. And I had a particular picture frame that I thought that didn't actually fit it, so I had to cut it down and get my dad's help to actually make it look decent, so it didn't look like it didn't fit. But yeah, that's literally what my room is. I have all these holes in the wall because I'm hanging up stuff.
Just madness within your room.
No, I don't even have magnets. I have screws and
No, I said madness. Don't worry.
Madness.
Just madness.
I thought you said madness was like, I don't know how I want to put glue in the wall, put magnet on the wall.
Oh no, I'd be so concerned for you. I'd be like, oh no. Oh no, that's not hard. Oh no.
I start going through like the different little nip shops on the top of the refrigerator, above the microwave, and in the cabinet, trying to get any screw and anything that could hang at the time to put on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, I'm even using a trophy case. I bought another canvas holder so that can go in the old dictionary I have. That's like, oh yeah, I have a random dictionary that I read. It was like I think it was a history book. Like,
that would make more sense.
Only American history to like 1930s. I don't know why I read that. I'm using it as a base, the canvas.
It's art. It's beautiful. Another
God.
thing that I got, like, when you spend money, I would definitely say online gaming was
Yeah.
also a big thing for me. I love indie games, so I've spent more than I'm comfortable admitting on,
Yeah,
like,
so
buying
many
indie games,
canvases are like
recording
20
them.
bucks Goodwill. So some of the snow globes are like $2 to $3. So those are a buy. And then people will give
I
me
just
snow
don't
globes too. Because I
I just
collected them.
don't I I think what it is with collections, like, for
Yeah.
me, with playing online games, at least I could play those with other people, but
Yeah.
I don't get the collectibles because, like, they just sit there,
Yeah.
and then they don't go anywhere, and I'm like, that just takes up space, and that would annoy me. I don't like collecting multiples of something. Every now and then, like the vinyls, but
Yeah.
having
I think I
several,
stopped
nah.
collecting. I think if I'm at a point I stopped collecting. Um so yeah. I think I've kind of went out space on my wall with like canvases on the wall.
Oh, so you stopped because you ran out of room.
No, I think I stopped because I stopped going to Goodwill. And I knew that every single time I went to Goodwill, I wanted to buy something new canvas. I'll literally go through the entire canvases section and go through it. And it's like, oh, this is on sale. Let's buy this one first. So then I maybe
That
come
was
back
just
this week to get this one.
half off. Oh my goodness. Like, you didn't have a choice. I mean, it's fine. I think everybody has that guilty thing where you kind of get into it, you find interest for it, and then it becomes something that you spend way too much money on, but you love it. So that's why it's great, and that's why it might be a hobby,
Oh, I
like
think
passion or
probably
something
the
like that.
thing I spent so much money with was Facebook ads and Fiverr. Why?
I don't know though if those are those interests spending money on Facebook ads.
No, the
Okay.
Facebook ad is MC Anime at the time. I was promoting blogs. I got 713 likes just based on ads and promoting my posts, and I learned from that. But
Okay.
yeah, there's a passion to expand my influence and get people to come to the page.
Well, you're definitely gonna have a passion for the, like, literal podcast that you have. I hope so. I would
Yeah,
hope you have a passion for your company still. Otherwise, it's gonna be
yeah.
a really awkward episode.
And then Fiverr, I think I was just giving a bunch of freelance people like all these different projects I wanted to get done, and then it ate into my bank account. It's like, what did I do? Why did I do this? Design this or write this, or I even had editor for the blog. I even had a ghostwriter. Yeah, I did a ton of stuff.
Writer for your own blog.
Okay. I didn't. They weren't a ghostwriter necessarily. I put their name and they had credit for that entry.
Or like
I
a
had
copywriter.
paid for commission to basically post the blog. I did that for a
Okay.
couple of them. That's when I was getting super behind, and I wanted to do a Pacific blog and didn't have time to do it. So I asked for help, and they had their name mentioned to the article. So like they had all the credit given to them instead of me. But when I wrote it, I didn't put my own name on it. So I don't only put their name on it because it's not my work. So yeah.
Interesting. This basically just became a lesson of with passions. Be careful because you
Yeah,
can spend a lot of money very
you can spend
quickly.
a lot of money, especially going to conventions. It's a couple
Oh yeah.
$100 if you go to a particular convention based on the hotel you get, a couple of days you can spend $160 for a 3-day pass. Then you have food. Then you have hotel. Then you have transportation to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that can add up to, a couple $100, especially when I was volunteering at conventions. That was a particular passion I want to build, get more experience in convention culture, and an investment for the blog at the time because I was doing a monthly convention anime review. I did a convention review when I did some of the blogs, so that was part of my original content. I would spend about $300 for an entire weekend.
Sounds
Even though
about
I
right.
was in the convention for free, I was volunteering. I had to pay for lodging most of the time, Airbnb,
Hmm.
and transportation to get from the Airbnb to Greyhound to the convention back to Airbnb, Airbnb back to Greyhound. So if I had a car, I'd probably save a lot of money. But oh well.
I
That
mean,
was
you're
in
not really supposed. That's not convention culture. Is when you are aware that your wallet is probably going to be way lighter by the time you
yeah.
leave. Yeah,
But
that's
I
fine.
only did once a month because that's what I could afford. So, and I
Once a
only
month doing
stayed
a
within my
convention is
own
still
state.
wild.
I only stay within
Yeah,
my own state because that's the transportation was cheaper. So
yeah, that actually makes sense. Like, and depending on where you live, if it's a busy enough area, you have enough conventions happening nearby. You can fill out an entire year. You can find at least one convention happening. You just have to
yeah.
you just have to figure out logistics. I do the
Mhm.
same thing here, but luckily, like Florida has a ton of conventions, so that helps out. You
Yeah.
and it's a big state, so you can kind of just go everywhere.
Yeah. And then I made a mistake for my first convention. I actually go with friends. If you're going to a convention, go with yourself. You save a lot of money. Please don't buy
What
people's
are you
tickets.
talking about?
Don't.
You
If you
what
go
are
with
you?
friends,
What
do
a
not buy
terrible
the
take.
entire
Go.
ticket.
No, yeah, you just make bad decisions with money. But go with your friends to the convention. That's
Your
actually
friends
the best
for them
time to
too.
go. Go with people who are also
Yeah.
into whatever the convention is for. It can be hard to go with people who don't have the same interests because you don't want to get split up for too long. And then
Your
two, you
friends
want to
can go
like
too.
vibe and have a good
They
time.
can pay for their own ticket or food at least. If you're gonna buy the ticket, they pay for lodging and food. You have to split or transportation, so just split it where okay, if I spend money on this, you spend money on this. Just have an
What are you
organized
going
plan.
through? What are
Huh?
you going through? Like, I'm trying to figure out what's happening. I'm guessing you've gone to conventions and spent a lot of money on other people because
No.
normally you're
I
always
went to
supposed to
one
split it.
convention and it cost me like $300 for 4 tickets. Not gonna lie. And it's like, ah.
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I was like, I could have literally spent my own ticket for 65 and I would have been fine. No, I didn't. No, it just didn't happen.
Yeah. Normally, the best thing that I promote, if you're going to go to conventions, go with other people, but make sure like you go with people, let them buy their own ticket. That just ensures they're going to show up. That's one thing. And then two, always invite more people because it's always going to like drop
It's always
down by the time you get close to it.
and those
And
you
you
can
don't have to
also
dress up.
like split up in mini groups and do different things and then reconvene
Yeah.
and eat up, meet up for the dinner or talk about what you did or go back to the video game section or whoever else. There's a
Because you're
lot of
definitely going to
content.
spend money. You're definitely going to spend money. And I think you spend more money with the group of people because I've gone with friends. And if
Yeah.
they go to a booth that I might have missed and there's stuff there, then I'm like, oh, shoot, dude, now I want this too. That's the one. It's a guilty love and passion, but
Yeah.
go with other people. Go with other people and party and have a good time. And that's how you
True.
find more shared interests. And then you
Yeah.
might get passionate about
Now,
cosplay
okay.
or the
Vendor
performance part.
area. If I was you, lock up your wallet. Only spend what you minimally want. 'Cause you can spend the entire day shopping, and you have a bunch of stuff you don't want to take back with you because you don't have space. Just remember that. Only buy as much as you can carry home. That's what I should tell you.
We have two different experiences at conventions.
Please don't buy everything up at the convention hall. And when you
No,
with
no,
friends
buy
and you
it when it gets
carpool,
closer towards the end. If you know you're going back to the room within the next 2 hours,
oh
then go buy
god,
your stuff. But never buy it like at the start of the day. You gotta lug it all day long, and whatever you fell in
Mhm.
love with, you're gonna end up hating by the time you like finally get back to your room or whatever. You're gonna be so mad. You're gonna be
that is
so mad
one
that you
thing I've
bought
been
it.
really good at. Is the vendor hall? Didn't really spend much money in the vendor hall because I don't know. I was most of the time I wasn't in the vendor hall because I was volunteering in other areas.
Oh yeah, well you physically couldn't be in there. But if
Yeah,
I
and
mean if
also
you
sometimes I
yeah.
avoided it because okay. Now, if you go to like a local Comic Con, let's just say that, the only way to really have fun there, I'm sorry, is the vendors.
What are
Uh,
you talking about?
okay,
How do you
at
have
my
so many
I'm talking
bad
about
takes?
small time comic conventions. You just have one big space. It's mostly just vendors.
Yeah, the biggest part is going to be the vendors area. That's always the biggest part.
That's actually at my Comic Con. That's the only attraction is the vendors. You have the QA section back here for panels, which is like cut off little black tent area with chairs, and then you have the cosplay competition, and then food. That's it.
Oh yeah, that sounds disgusting. I wouldn't even spend money on that. I would travel somewhere else. I would
Actually,
not
okay,
do,
that
I would
it's
travel
only
somewhere
like
else
$25
100%.
to get in, or like
No.
$14. It's actually really
Mm.
cheap to come in, so I would spend money
Yeah, it's
on.
one
I mean,
room.
I got a Nook, some other stuff, people looking at books, and that's literally how I did my convention review. You know,
No, I like I'm from the city, so it has to be bigger than that. Like
yeah,
um the Orlando Convention Center where they have all the big conventions as well. That one's like 3 stories and it's a hotel and it's huge. So like
yeah.
that's what
A
I
lot of
like where I'm like
conventions,
I want to
yeah,
be angry at how much walking I have to do.
A lot of conventions are either at a conference center or a hotel. But hotel generally is the best because it's usually the smaller events, but they can have a big enough space to rent it
Yeah, they
out.
have a banquet room. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, banquet room, well, if you do like a big Marriott, the entire hotel is the convention.
Yeah, that's the one I was just talking about in Orlando. It's a
So
hotel and a convention. But some places that are just the event site, just the
yeah.
convention area, those can vary in size. Those ones are
Oh yeah.
definitely usually the ones that you're gonna see that maybe might be just a one room, one big open space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So it pretty much comes down to what you like and what you're interested in. And with interest comes, all the different things we have discussed. Like, for example, the childhood, the interaction with people, the random occurrence. There's plenty of random opportunities that happen with finding an interest.
Mm-hmm.
The internet, spending money. You know, we kind of went into like big examples of just what is required to have passion. So, personal stories is how we build a passion. Childhood, you build the passion by simply being with other people around your age or being by yourself, being immersed into the content. If you have indirect or direct introduction to the interest, do some research, uh, find out what you like about it, find what your style is, immerse yourself into, just jumping in. Internet, pretty much the deep web is to your use it as much as you want or as little as you want. It's there regardless of what you like it or not. Spending money, get a job, or at least have someone that can loan you money, or if you're a kid, do chores around the house, get some allowance. Or, ask for one big thing instead of all these small things that your parents don't want to say yes to. And the random occurrence, just know that it can happen to anyone. So, whatever random occurrence is the fifth category about finding an interest, just know that it can just be simply hearing music and you want to know who that person playing that music is. So, there you go.
Yeah. So you'll develop them, you'll change them.
Mm-hmm.
You'll definitely lose some of your interests as you get older and things change in your life.
Oh yeah.
But there's so much out there. Just keep exploring and keep experimenting to see what you're into. And the fun thing about a lot of interests nowadays is that because we have the internet, you can practice them or learn about them without ever really having to leave your home or being in front of other people. So if you're not comfortable, because you don't know much about it, you can at least just be online and be in your house, get to know what you need to know, and then decide if you want to keep pursuing it. So it's it's great to like discover more interests and learn more about them because you get to have a bunch of cool experiences like the ones we talked about today.
Yeah.
So get out there, guys.
This concludes Finding Interest and Building Passions particular episode of MC Anime. Don't forget to like and subscribe on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can find us at Blog MC Anime, MC Salon at Twitter, and then we're on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts,
Everywhere with
Amazon Music,
podcasts.
Spotify, iHeartRadio. Please don't forget to support us directly on Patreon at Blog MC Anime. We have the different MC Anime tiers made. Everything is like new and fresh. So it relates to the podcast, and each category has different like exclusive content, original proposals for podcast ideas, advice. It's on there. Please check it out, and please support the page. If not, even just give us a like, give us like Apple reviews as well on Apple Podcasts. So, and you know what? Keep our retention rate high and be a good audience, and we hope to see you again.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
This concludes another episode of MC Anime Podcast. MC Anime Podcast is available on podcast directories like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. We also have our website at mcanimepodcast.com. If you want to directly support us, then follow Patreon blog MC Anime. Finally, if you want services for hire, then we're available on Fiverr for audio and video production, graphic design, idea consulting, and blog and article writing.